Well, what can you say about BuzzFeed? You know, that purveyor of such informative content as men decorate each other's beards for Christmas and drunk people get surprised with their favourite toys. But fair play to them, this is a very successful business model. According to their Social Blade profile, BuzzFeed is the 16th most watched YouTube channel, pulling in more than 8 million views a day and acquiring more than 200,000 subscribers every month. That just makes me want to kill myself multiple times. But I want to talk today more specifically about BuzzFeed News. And yes, the quotations around news are necessary because, as you are no doubt aware, BuzzFeed News decided to publish a 35-page dossier on Donald Trump and his alleged connections to the Russian state, whilst admitting that it had not been verified in any way. So let's go back a little in the timeline. Back at the end of October, Mother Jones reported on the existence of a dossier that had been given to the FBI by a former spy, and both President Obama and Donald Trump were given a 2-page briefing document of that report. Now, Mother Jones had the memos, but they didn't publish them because the author of the article couldn't confirm any of the allegations, which should go without saying is the responsible thing to do. But that didn't stop BuzzFeed News. They decided to publish the full 35-page document whilst admitting that the report was unverified. And the justification for this decision to publish it is absolutely stunning. From the editor-in-chief, Ben Smith. As you've probably seen, this evening we published a secret dossier making explosive and unverified allegations about Donald Trump and Russia. I wanted to briefly explain to you how he made the decision to publish it. Explain? I'm sorry, but you can't explain that as anything other than a deliberate smear campaign when you knowingly publish unverified documents. But it gets better. Our presumption is to be transparent in our journalism and to share what we have with our readers. Well, thank you for being transparent about the fact that you'll publish anything that suits your political agenda. We have always erred on the side of publishing. In this case, the document was in wide circulation at the highest levels of the US government and media. What, and it didn't bother you that whilst it had been widely circulated, that no one else had published it? I wonder what the editors' meeting was like. Just a quick question. Why hasn't anyone else published this? Yes, good question. Well, that's because they have these things called standards, but we don't have to worry about those. It seems to lie behind a set of vague allegations from the Senate Majority Leader to the Director of the FBI and a report that intelligence agencies have delivered to the President and the President-elect. As we noted in our story, there is serious reason to doubt the allegations. We've been chasing specific claims in this document for weeks and will continue to. So just to recap, according to BuzzFeed Editor-in-Chief Ben Smith, we have published an explosive, unverified, vague set of allegations that there is serious reason to doubt. Yeah, good call. Publishing this document was not an easy or simple call, and people of goodwill may disagree with our choice. Not an easy choice? Actually, it doesn't get much easier than that. You simply don't publish unverified, vague allegations that you have serious reasons to doubt. That is, if you have any journalistic integrity, which it turns out you don't, but publishing this dossier reflects how we see the job of reporters in 2017. You think of the job of reporters is to disseminate unsubstantiated allegations. So is this going to be the new current year argument for 2017, that journalism has been reduced to just throwing out unsubstantiated allegations, no matter what? Now, a small part of that 35-page dossier contained what has now been referred to as Golden Showergate or Pissgate, depending on your preference, which some wonderful troll over at 4chan is claiming credit for. Briefly, the story goes that Donald Trump hired the presidential suite of the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Moscow because he knew that Obama's, whom he hated, had stayed there on an official trip, and he defiled the bed by employing a number of prostitutes to perform a golden shower show in front of him. Now, for such a shocking claim, you'd want to have more than just unverified statements. And who the hell knows whether 4chan is the actual source? One reporter noted that this doesn't read like it was written by a professional investigator. But does it really matter? This whole story has cancer written all over it. And remember, not one media outlet has been able to verify anything in it. However, you can imagine Trump haters salivating at the prospect that it might be true. No doubt BuzzFeed wished it were true, but since they had spent, by their own admission, weeks chasing the claims in the document with no result, they should have known better. Now, in some ways, this was a gift for Trump and his team, because instead of just responding to claims about a report that was floating out there in the ether, they could actually start debunking real parts of it. For example, Michael Cohen, a lawyer that works for the Trump Organization, was alleged to have had a secret meeting in Prague, which was quickly debunked. He claimed he'd never been to Prague in his life, and it turns out he was at the University of Southern California on the day in question. Now, Trump tweeted up a storm about it because, of course he did, although claiming Russia as a source of credibility was probably not the best move. And then he had this to say at his press conference about BuzzFeed.
As far as BuzzFeed, which is a failing pile of garbage, writing it, I think they're going to suffer the consequences. They already are.
And BuzzFeed deserved every bit of that. Now, he also went on to call CNN fake news after a rather belligerent reporter kept trying to ask him a question.
Since you're attacking us, can you give us a question? Mr. President-elect.
Go ahead.
Mr. President-elect, since you are attacking our news organization, can you give us a chance?
Your organization
You are attacking our news organization.
Your organization.
Can you give us a chance to ask a question, sir?
Go ahead.
Sir, can you state, Mr. President-elect,
go ahead.
can you state categorically,
she's asking a question. Don't
Mr. President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
You're attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you give us a question?
I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir,
go ahead.
Can you state categorically that nobody... No, Mr. President-elect, that's not appropriate.
President Obama.
Notice the applause for that statement. Now, CNN was pushing this story along, but not in the same manner as BuzzFeed, it should be said. In fact, they did eventually debunk the Michael Cohen going to Prague story.
Let me just make one other point, because Michael Cohen, Trump's lawyer, has been out there because in this uncorroborated report, it talks about Michael Cohen, Trump's official corporate lawyer, making a trip to the Czech Republic. My reporting suggests that people did try to run that down.
They did.
And they concluded that it was a different Michael Cohen. It was a Michael Cohen with a passport from another country, the same birth year, different birth date. So for Michael Cohen to dispute that he was in the Czech Republic completely confirms and comports with our report. And it's one of the reasons why the intelligence chiefs did not get specific with these allegations. And that's why I hope at the press conference today people are more general and don't get into the specifics, because a lot of that stuff just has not been proven.
And it now seems likely that Trump was in fact briefed on the dossier, though his team had denied he had been. Whether they're lying or Trump just forgot, who knows? So Trump may have overreacted a little, but not as much as some of the reactions to his reaction. For example, Chris Cillizza suggesting that all Americans should be worried. Now, I wonder if Chris Cillizza and John Harwood down below remember back in 2009 when Barack Obama's communications director, Anita Dunn, decided to treat Fox News as an illegitimate news organization. Quote, "We're going to treat them the way we would treat an opponent," said Anita Dunn, the White House communications director, in a telephone interview on Sunday. "As they are undertaking a war against Barack Obama and the White House, we don't need to pretend that this is the way that legitimate news organizations behave." Now, did Fox deserve that back in 2009? Probably some of it. But the point is, it's not like the White House hasn't had a contentious relationship with some aspects of the media in the past. So maybe everyone should just calm down a little before they duck for cover in their bunkers. And that's really a big part of the problem here, the level of overreaction and outrage. When it comes to Trump, the media seems to have their outrage dial permanently set to 11. So when they do actually get a juicy story, they have nowhere to go. And most people who already distrust the media will simply tune it out. And don't forget, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and if you're feeling extra generous, throw me $1 on Patreon. It's very much appreciated. See you next time.